Hello, and welcome to my oral assignment about the movie Into the Wild. The task of this assignment is to answer a number of questions given to us. And the way I'm gonna do this is to comment on a number of screenshots that I've taken, which I think is very relevant to the movie. And by doing this, I will gradually answer all of the questions. So let's skip right to my first slide. And here we have my first screenshot, which is a quotation from a poem by Lord Byron. Um, and it seems like Chris is very inspired by Lord Byron's work. Lord Byron was one of the biggest romantic poets, and this Byron quotation helps us understand the motives of Chris, because it is literature like this that drives him out on the adventure that the movie is all about. So therefore, this quotation is quite important for the plot of the movie. And a way of showing this is to, like it's done here, put the quotation in the very first frame of the entire movie. And well, that's exactly what they've done here. And let's go to the next slide. Yes, this is a picture of the bedroom scene. It's the very first scene in the entire movie. And it shows that the parents are grieving over their lost son. This scene shows that the parents really miss their lost son, and it makes them seem human. Uh, However, they are later in the movie portrayed as these evil and violent parents who always work too much and hit their children. So this scene completely contradicts the way they are portrayed later in the movie, which is quite interesting. Another symbol in this scene could be the bedroom itself. One could say that the bedroom represents the intimacy and safety, and that's exactly what Chris is escaping from. So let's go to the next slide. After the bedroom scene, there's a kind of a intro thing where there's not any dialogue. However, there's music and a number of pictures, and there's also a handwritten letter on the screen. Um, I'm gonna talk about the pictures right now. The pictures in the intro thing is they're never random. Uh, all of them tell a story and contribute to the story. For example, this particular picture shows a train. Uh, it tells us that Alexander or Chris is riding by a train, and if you look closely, you can also see that he has written Alexander on the side of the train. And this helps us to see that it really is him riding the train. Alright, next picture. On this picture, we see the handwritten letter appearing on the screen, and we also see a great big panorama perspective picture the of the city that he has gotten to. Um, this picture is great at showing that winter is coming, and it's cold and it's isolated, and it's not a shiny place, not at all, and it's very scarcely populated. And at the same time, the letter is appearing at the screen. The handwritten letter is there to make us feel that the story is told through Chris himself, which it actually also is in real life, because they found his logbook on his corpse. The letter is a letter from Chris to Wayne about his first couple of days before he heads into the wild. While he stocks up supplies and gets ready to leave, Wayne is the only one who does not try to stop him from going to Alaska. He is the only one who really understands his situation. He is special and means a lot to Chris. This next picture shows Chris doing a thumbs up, and in this particular situation it means that he's hitchhiking like a backpack. It's like what I said before, all of the pictures in the opening scene tells a story. None of them are random. They all contribute to telling the story of the opening. And while these pictures are going and the letters are flying across the screen, there's this music in the background. And the first piece of music is quite cheerful, I would call it. It gives the opening scene a kind of a happy vibe, and it really contributes to the way the viewer is feeling emotionally. Also, the letters on the letter, the yellow things, they are big and round shaped, and I don't know, it just seems to me like the letters themselves are formed in a cheerful way. So I guess that also contributes to the feelings of the viewer. Alright, next picture. This picture is of the local bookstore, and on the right side, right here, you see a number of books about plants. And at the same time you see the sentence picked up a new book on the local flora and fauna today. And if you end up watching the movie till the very end, you will know that this becomes very important to Chris, because he actually ends up dying because he ate the wrong plant, because he wasn't able to read this book properly. And next picture, we have a Alaskan prospector sign, and this also appeals to Chris, I can imagine, because a prospector is kind of the same thing as a backpacker, what Chris is. And at the same time, the letter on the screen states that Chris thinks he might be a very long time because before he returns south. And that's kind of ironic, because yes, it is going to be a very long time because he's dying out there and he will never return. And here's a picture of a sign saying closed for winter. And in the opening scene, there's actually quite a lot of these signs, pictures showing that shops are closed, and it contributes to showing the viewer that everything is closing down and breaking down, and is at the brink of society. And this particular sign just says that in a very clear way. In this picture we have the man who gave Chris a ride, and when he drops Chris off, he says a certain phrase. He says, "That's about as far as I can get you." And we were told to explain this line. I would say it symbolizes that he is at the edge of society and that he will now walk into the wild. The guy who helps Chris represents society and the point at which he is unable to drive any further. And this man is used to indicate that the man is taking Chris to a very inner civilization and society, and that the real wild begins here. Alright, next picture. In this picture we see Chris walking towards the horizon, and almost the entire picture is covered in snow, and the snow is white, and in color symbolics white represents purity, and that's exactly what he's seeking by doing this journey. So that's kind of symbolic. You also see mountains, which represents obstacles, and that also fits the plot of the movie quite well, because Chris run into quite a big number of obstacles on his way. Also in this picture, it seems to me like there's a line in the middle of the picture, quite a little bit above the middle, and I think that's the stream which he's later going to cross, and I'm going to talk about that in the next picture. And here we have the bald-headed eagle, which is the national animal of the United States of America. It's not a freedom symbol, also quite relevant for the movie, clearly stating again that he's seeking freedom and purity. And here we have a mountain again. It's a white mountain, it's covered in snow. The mountain again symbolizes an obstacle, and the white color of the snow symbolizes purity. And that's kind of what the whole thing is about. Chris takes on this spiritual journey to gain purity. He thinks that he will gain purity by conquering these obstacles, and that's exactly what this white mountain symbolizes. And then we have this picture, which is very close perspective of Chris's face, clearly showing his emotions at the given time. And it seems to me that he is kinda overwhelmed by the landscape and the situation that he is in, but I think that's completely natural, and anyone would have that kind of expression on their face in this situation. But he also looks quite determined. I see a lot of determination in his face expressions, and this helps us see what kind of person Chris is. He's very determined, and he's that kind of person that when he wants to do something, he's gonna do it, and he's not gonna stop until he's done. And on this next picture, we see Chris leaving his old hood behind on a tree branch, and the hood kind of symbolizes his old self, and it also goes quite well to the lyrics of the background song, which is playing at this time. For example, there's a phrase in the song which says, I've got this light, I'll be around to grow. Who I was before, I cannot recall. And that's exactly what this picture is about. He's leaving behind his old self, and the hood symbolizes his soul. There's also other lyrics in the music very relevant for Chris at this given time. For example, there's have no fear, for when I'm alone, I'll be better off than I was before. And this is probably what Chris thinks when he walks into the wild, and maybe why he walks into the wild. Actually, in general, the background music for the second part of the intro film, where he walks into the wild, they are very well fitting for his situation, and they are very well chosen. And on this picture we see Chris